Nisha's network, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all about connecting, yeah, let's go. It's Nisha's network, yeah, 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 yeah. It's all about connecting, yeah, let's go. Connect and feel the vibe. Connections make you feel alive. We do this every day. Let's put your business on display. Network, let's heal and pray. It's all love, we here to stay. Trust in God, He'll lead the way. We on right now, no need to wait. Connect and vibe, 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 connect and vibe. It's Nisha's network, yeah, yeah. It's all about connecting, yeah, let's go.
All right. Hey, everybody. I am so happy to be here again. Another segment with Nisha's Network and Insightful Moments with Nisha. And today I have a very beautiful special guest. I'm going to say she's an adopted sister, the family word, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's Atlanta, Georgia. Is that correct? So
Yes.
I want to go ahead and say welcome to Sonia.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much. I'm just excited. We're just relaxing, two sisters having a conversation about some phenomenal things that Sonia has going on, okay? That the world
Thank
should
you.
know about. And so we're just gonna tell you to go ahead and hit share and subscribe to Nisha's Network, where you'll be able to share this phenomenal information about Sonia. I met Sonia through her twin, Tanya, and Tanya Simmons Reed, and I'm just really grateful. I just feel like I've been a part of the family for forever. Um,
Absolutely.
we haven't even met in person yet, but we still feel like we're sisters,
Sisters, for
and
sure.
we know about sisterly things, right, Sonia?
Absolutely.
It's a gift having sisters, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity to go ahead and just introduce yourself to our listening audience.
I'm Sonia Simmons, and I am the author of A Single Mom's Guide to Raising Black Gentlemen. I'm also a voice actor and audiobook narrator, and our book is available via audiobook as well, anywhere you listen to books.
Yes, that's exciting because so many people don't have the opportunity to listen. So let me just say that our topic today is raising gentlemen, and I entitled it that because I know your book is a single mom's guide to raising Black gentlemen, but most people in self-help books and informationals about raising Black men, they usually just say Black men, raising Black boys, raising Black men. Let's talk about the inspiration behind your book and the title, Raising Black Gentlemen, which is absolutely phenomenal. And most people wouldn't even think of that.
Thank you. It actually came out of an argument. Well, let me back up. First of all, when I got divorced, I looked for a book for single moms raising Black sons, and the only thing I could find was by Dr. Kunjufu, who is a very well respected, well renowned author, psychologist, and he was writing about how to raise Black boys. And for me, I think about a lot of things. The word boys has been used in a negative context when it relates to Black men in our society, a way to denigrate them and demoralize them and to say that they're less than, they're boys. Um, and so I didn't want to use that word. And also, they might be boys while I'm raising them, but I'm raising them to be men, you know. Um, in our society, a lot of people will say a woman can't raise a man, you know. Well, that would be really catastrophic if that were true, because many of us are doing it alone. So, are we to give up and say, I can't raise this man? I don't think so. And the word gentleman actually came from an argument that I was having with my husband at the time, where we were having a disagreement on discipline. And he said, I'm going to raise him to be a man. I said, that's right. Yes, you are. And I'm going to make him a gentleman. And I think that that's so important that women understand that we can raise our sons to be men, and not only just to be this macho image of what men are supposed to be in society, or what the bill of goods that we've been sold. No, we can raise them to be thoughtful and kind and loving and still be a man who stands up for what he believes in and
Yeah.
carries himself appropriately.
Yeah, you know what is so interesting because I know that saying that says, "Man up." Man up, little boy.
Mhm,
Stop acting like a punk. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And it's one of those things where, it I believe it probably in some ways desensitizes men actually, or little boys actually sharing their emotions. Would
mhm.
you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So what are some of the ways that you try to reverse that and you raising a gentleman? Now you have two boys, right?
I have 2 sons, yes.
Sons. Oh, excuse me. See there? See how we said it there? See that? Okay, this is real life, okay?
But truth be told, in the family, they're always gonna be the boys. That's what we call them.
Right.
If
But
you
but
would ask
I
Tanya, the boys.
yes, and how are the boys doing or
Mhm.
this and the other,
Exactly.
but no, that is something that does need to change, especially as they get older, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
How are the
mhm.
guys doing? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, anyway, so what was some of the things that you did that you made that made a difference in while you were raising them to do to beat the odds or to um shift the trajectory of what you wanted to see in raising your sons?
The first thing that comes to mind is I always acknowledged their feelings and help them to work through whatever it was that they were going through. If they were misbehaving, I would see it as they're trying to have a need. They're trying to meet a need that they have, and that need is genuine. So let's talk about it. Maybe the way you're going about it is inappropriate, but let's talk about a more appropriate way for you to still get your need met. Um, yes, they're mama's boys. I love on them, but age appropriately, as they got older, there might need to be a little more distance, but still we talk about things, we're honest with each other. I taught them that, you know, their word is everything, that, they should always tell me the truth. They should stand up for what they believe in. They should admit when they're wrong. I never made them apologize for things that they weren't really sorry about either, because, a true apology, what a gentleman would do is say, "Hey, I'm sorry I did that, and this is why I'm sorry, and this is how I'm gonna fix it." So there's more to it than just words. To me, it's about integrity and, just really knowing yourself and representing yourself in a way that is gentlemanly. For lack of a better word, but, in a way that is confident without being arrogant,
Mhm.
is, self-assured and able to withstand peer pressure and all the other negatives that come at us on a daily basis, um, and just being true to themselves.
Mm. Wow. You know, as I skimmed through a few of the chapters, one of the ones that stood out to me is when you said, chapter 4, everyone has a gift, and that you should encourage your sons to find theirs. At what age did you acknowledge some of your sons' gifts and then encourage them? You know what I mean? At what age do you feel like it should start at an early age, or
Absolutely. It's
teenagers?
just you watch them and you see what they're good at. Matthew loved athletic things, and it helped to get out some of his aggression too. So we focused on sports with him. My mom, when Tommy was about 5, my mom commented that we ought to have him try out for the Atlanta Boy Choir because he was always singing. And, music is big in our house. Um, it was growing up for me, in addition to what was there for my children.
Mhm.
So, we had him try out for the Atlanta Boy Choir. Then when he got to middle school, um, he tried out, he started playing the trombone, so he chose band, that kind of thing. Tommy was always really good at math, so I encouraged that. Although, as good as he is at it, he doesn't like it. So I had to hear him when he didn't want to go be an engineer, for example, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow. Whew, it brought back some memories of my brothers. That's all. I have 4 brothers, so I
Okay.
was thinking about the different dynamics because my mom, at probably when I first got married, became divorced, and but it was a lot going on, and I won't go into detail of my story, but I know that she said that she was raising her sons to treat women correctly
Mhm.
and I don't know necessarily that the giftings were really paid attention to. They were in the girls for sure.
Huh.
They were in the girls, but I don't know so much in the boys. In terms of really, and all my brothers are talented. Question, no question asked. Artists, and they do a lot. Sing, businessmen, whatever. But I don't remember that their gift was uh there was a demand put on their giftings, if you will, like it was us.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I have all girls, except I have a son, but he lives in out of state. But I just want to know, what do you think the difference is, and why there's such a demand? Should be a demand, I guess, on boys more so than why is it put more on girls than it is on boys, on men, young men?
I think that there are so many stereotypes placed on male children, um, that oftentimes no one pays attention to what their passion is. And, to me, there is a tie-in to your passion and what God really gifted you with and what you're supposed to put out into the world. And so, um, when we pay attention to labels and stereotypes instead of what's actually there, that the child is shining outward,
Yeah,
then we can miss it. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think just not giving in to stereotypes and really taking the time to get to know your child. And while we are talking about boys, I think this absolutely applies to female children, non-binary children. I think, and I do talk about that in my book too, that we have to listen to what they're saying about how they identify.
wow.
Mhm.
Wow, now that's a whole topic right there. Okay, so you all need to go and purchase the book. We're going to put it up on the screen for you, and it is available on Amazon. And A Single Mom's Guide to Raising Black Gentlemen. Okay, and you're going to hear some good stuff from from Sonia Simmons. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is, what did you mean in the book when you said, "Don't let them be a yes man"? Now I heard you say, hold on, I heard you say mama's boys, okay? They're mamas, and there's a stereotype that goes along with that, especially when they become husbands, quote unquote, right?
Yes.
That comes to the point where it's like you'll do everything for your mother, but you won't do anything for me. But then there's also the compliment to a lot of marriages that say he treats his mother so well, he treats his wife the same way. So don't let him be a yes man. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think that we have to teach our children to say no.
Mm,
We have to teach them that they have their own minds, that you know, and I didn't say it this way in the book, but I do believe that if we are too authoritarian, and clamp down on our children and don't allow them to say no to us or to any authority figure, then we set them up where they could potentially be molested, they could be taken advantage of. um, they have to learn to trust their gut when the gut says, "This isn't right," or "I don't wanna do this." Even if That's something that I'm telling them to do. And that is really not an easy way to parent. It really isn't. But you reap the rewards later in life when they are able to stand up and say, "Nah, that's not for me." You want them to be able to say no when that gang is trying to initiate them, then they have to have practice saying no,
Wow.
you know?
I'm thinking about this, Sonya, with all the things that have gone on in the world today and raising young Black men and
Mhm,
raising gentlemen, Black gentlemen, about the trauma that has happened in our society.
mhm.
How did you address that with your sons? And then on top of that, thinking about them saying no, but it may cost something very, very harsh in this world today.
One thing I said in the book is that if you raise your child with confidence and, um, I talked about the 2 strikes, where it could be negative like baseball strikes or it could be positive like bowling strikes. I choose the positive, you know, and they're both the same. They're black and they're male. So they have 2 strikes because they're black and they're male and they're going to be profiled and all of these things. But they have 2 bowling strikes about being black and male because you know what? They're kings. They're just these magnificent creatures. And if they know that within themselves, then they don't have this chip on their shoulder. They're not angry. They can just know and be comfortable in their own skin, and we have to be aware of how other people see them as intimidating and, aggressive and all of that, and when they are comfortable in their own skin and able to stand up and say, "I am," whatever their name is, and I'm good with who I am, then they're able to come through those situations alive, you know?
Mhm.
I talk in the book, my son gave me permission to share an incident where he got stopped by the cops, and he was made to get out of his car, and they searched the car illegally, and they found some stuff in there that wasn't supposed to be in there, and he went to jail that night, but he came through it alive, and I believe that that's because, you know, even throughout that situation, he said, "Wait, don't you need a warrant to search my car?" And the cop responded, "I know what I can do. I've been doing this for 10 years or whatever." And Matthew knew to stop at that point, and he didn't confront the cop, he cooperated, but he had still spoken his piece, and the guy knew that, "Oh, he's aware of his rights. I'm still gonna do this, but maybe I need to back off a little bit." And then by Matthew cooperating, he still came through it alive, you know?
Mm. Yeah,
Um
that's one of those things that I think about is the respect when you're raising your sons, when you're raising your children, the
Mhm,
level of respect. And not to say you, for lack of a better term, you dummy down or you take abuse. But there's the scripture that says a soft answer turns away wrath. And I know that a lot of people get hot headed and they teach
mhm,
their sons to fight for yourself, defend for
mhm,
yourself, and that may not always be the best. Be knowledgeable, but I guess that's what you're saying. Be knowledgeable, but
mhm,
still know when enough is enough.
mhm. Yeah, and that's the conversation that so many of us moms are having with our sons, and it's sad that we have to, that we're seeing these, situations on TV where even when they are doing the right thing, they are speaking up, they do have their hands on the wheel, they, you know, are are complying, but are
Yeah,
still being beaten down, it's
yeah,
sad.
yeah. It is sad.
And my sons don't like when I tell them, "You gotta be careful. This happens,"
Yeah,
"Oh, mom, it's not that bad." Well, yeah, it is,
yeah.
Um,
Would you consider your sons sheltered?
I think to some degree,
That
I'm not perfect by any means. I know that every day I get up and I try to do a better job today than I did yesterday. I know that some days are better than others. But one thing that I do say with confidence is that my children who are now 22 and 26 still have a very tight bond with me, and our relationship is intact after all the things that we've been through. Their self-esteem is intact. They are happy. They're still trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do with their lives, but the the core, at their core, they are good human beings, and they are, like I said, happy. And isn't that what we all want as
Yeah.
parents?
Yeah, for sure. So I have another question for you, and it's probably off the script, but I just want to ask you if you don't mind sharing, after your divorce and just really speaking to how you are a single mom. You basically share with your ex-husband, hey, I'm raising gentlemen. Not to say what he was not able to do necessarily, but um how did you raise them to still respect their dad after, you know what I mean? Because a lot of children take on, especially sons, take on the responsibility of their mom. You hurt my mom, or, and not to say, it could be, what to say, irreconcilable differences, mutual. But the bottom line is that, children take it on, but especially I've seen more young men take it on and, like, very angry with their fathers.
That is such a good question. In fact, it's the first chapter in my book, Get Rid of Your Anger,
Yes.
because I think as moms, we have to set our anger with their dad aside, whether we were married to him or not, it doesn't matter. Um, that has no place in my conversations with my sons. They don't need to see it. If we do allow them to see that anger, what we're doing is we're setting up a situation for them. It's a conflict for our children because they feel they have to choose. And I never want them to feel like they have to choose. Um, when they would ask me, "Why did you get divorced?" That's between your dad and me, you know? Of course I had reasons. I was the one who wanted the divorce, but that was not for that was not their business, you know?
So you feel that it's no place for the children to really know what the problem was. And I've heard this before, but I know it's a lot. It does not happen often
Mm.
where you separate the two.
I absolutely separated the 2, and then, there were 2 issues. There was, why did we get divorced in the first place, and where is daddy now? You
Mm.
know, because he was not around. I was very liberal with visitation. You can have him whenever you want. And I think that's important too. Um, I didn't say this in the book, but it came out in an interview. Money is between him and me. Time is between him and them.
Mm.
And I think that's so important because visitation has nothing to do with whether or not he's paying child support. He's still their dad and they need him in their lives if that's possible. So it's my job to make that as easy as possible for him. Even when, you know, even as they're grown and holidays come up, just this past Christmas, we had plans for Christmas and their dad decided he was coming to get them. You know what? I backed out because one of my sons said to me, whichever one we choose, one of you is going to be mad. Well, I'm not going to make that an issue. You go ahead and do what you need to do with your dad. And I'm not mad, you know?
Wow.
Um,
You need to
but
teach lessons to single moms, okay? Not just not just raising the black gentlemen, but the moms, because that's not a norm. That's very rare.
and I think it's so important and here's the other thing that I did and um whenever they would ask, "Where's dad?" Cuz he had some things going on in his life and he didn't take his weekends with him. They they went sometimes years without seeing him. He wouldn't call, that kind of thing. And I would say to them, "I don't know what's going on, but whatever it is, it must be pretty bad because I know he loves you. So we need to pray for him." And I knew that to be true. One of the chapters in the book is make sure he knows that he's loved. Even in his absence, he loves his children. He wasn't always able to show it to them in
Mm.
the way that they needed it. But in doing that, we left the door open for him to come in later when things were better and to still have a relationship with him. So if I had just not said anything, or if I had spoken ill of him because he's not, SHIT, you know, he doesn't care about y'all or whatever, which I know some moms do, then they would be angry with him.
Mm.
And it would be difficult for them to have a relationship with him later in life when he was able to do that, you know? So I wanted to always leave the door open for them to have a relationship with their dad.
It sounds like you chose forgiveness early on, and I that's
Mhm.
that's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge for so many, single. I'm gonna say single moms, but single parents in general.
Mhm.
People that are divorced or never were married, and just really because forgiveness really does bleed into your children, and it
It
shows them
does.
the right way to really respond to the parent and to how they should raise their families.
Mhm.
Wow. I want everyone to go and get the book today. And it doesn't matter if you're a single mom or not, if you're a single dad, if you're a married mom, if you're a married dad. I love that we say in our recovery program, people with lived experience doesn't mean that you were the person that is actually needing the recovery of from the substance abuse or from the mental health. Let me tell you something. People with lived experience are all around us, and you are a person with lived experience because you're going to come in contact with someone who has been a single parent,
Mhm.
been a single mom raising black gentlemen. I love that black gentleman. Okay, so everybody's perspective should really change and say, I'm not just raising a black man, I'm raising a black gentleman. That is so
Absolutely.
phenomenal. So it's available on Amazon, you guys. I want you to go to sonyasimmons.com. A single mom's guide. What a beautiful picture of Sonya and her two gentlemen.
Thank you.
That's such a gift to the world, Sonya, for you to be able to share and to be able to just really let us know how we should do it, how single moms should do it, how we should do it right. And I love you said, I'm not perfect, but just the fact that you were able to share and be transparent with the world about your story, that you will bring healing to so many single moms and to so many young black gentlemen and older black gentlemen. Dads, you need to read this. If you were that dad who was divorced or single or whatever, you need to really grab a hold of this book. SonyaSimmons.com. You can also find her book on Amazon. Do you have any last encouraging words, Sonya?
Just don't give up. Yes, it's hard, but this is what we have to do. One of the things that I said in the book was don't raise your children based on what you think it should be. Deal in reality. If you're not getting child support, okay, you have to work within your means. And I think those were the two biggest issues for me were child support and missed visitation. And maybe it's different for other people, but I just um believe that we have to do what's best for the kids and
Yeah.
leave adult issues as adult issues.
Yes. Yes. That is
And
so
you can do
good.
it. You're not alone. Have your village, create a village around you that
Yeah.
will help you through that.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for this gift today, the gift of your book, the gift of your story, and
Thank
an
you.
opportunity for the world to change and be a
I
better
just
place.
want people to let moms know. Mother's Day is coming up. Let them know this book exists because I
Yes.
wrote it to help other moms. And for me to help them, they have to know it's here and pick it up. And please do leave reviews on Amazon. Reviews are appreciated.
Yes. A single
Ratings and reviews.
ratings and reviews, a single
Yes.
mom's guide to raising black gentlemen. Thank you so much for today. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your story, your journey, and your overcoming power to let people know what they need to overcome. That's huge.
Thank you so much for having me, Nisha. I
All
appreciate you.
right. Until next time, everyone, SonyaSimmons.com. Go check her out, and we will talk to you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, what we doing now? It's Nisha's network, y'all. Connecting coach. It's Nisha's network, yeah.